Hello guys, this is Dr. Martins again, and this time around we'll be doing a series on toxicity. What do I mean? A lot of people, you hear them saying somebody is toxic. Toxic relationship. They even do it in such a way that they describe their mate as being toxic, their parent as being toxic, cousin, uncle, the boss in the office, the colleagues as being toxic. This episode we want to look at what is true meaning of toxic or toxic relationship. Also, what are the type of toxic people we have out there, and we'll look at how we can cope with toxic relationship or toxic people. And conclusively in this episode, we are going to look at when you deal with toxic people, you feel criticized. How do you cope with criticism? Or how we can deal with criticism. To start, we want to look at the definition of toxic or toxic relationship. The word toxic is not really a psychological term. It's not well defined psychologically, but it's what you feel when you relate with people, how people make you to feel, right? So as I mentioned, toxic is obviously not a formal psychological or term, but rather it's how to describe how you feel when you deal with certain individual or situation. Toxic describe interaction where boundaries are often blurred, where individuals themselves or their behavior are felt to be difficult, challenging, and maybe irritating to you. So we want to look at the feeling that you get that can make you to describe appropriately when you are in a toxic relationship. 5 of them we want to look at, and after these 5 we then go to the next episode. So in this episode we are going to look at proper definition of toxic people, toxic relationship, and how you feel when you get in touch, in contact with toxic people. 5 ways you feel. The first way we want to look at here, we want to look at physically, emotionally drained. When you have a interaction, or you hang out with somebody, or you spend time with somebody, and you feel physically, emotionally drained and exhausted, that may be an indication that such a relationship or such person is toxic. That's number 1. And please be careful and watch out for this. As you have a dealing with somebody, you walk out of that person, or you get back home and you are feeling drained, emotionally finished because of that encounter. Watch it. Number two is after you deal with the person, you feel less confidence about yourself. You don't feel convinced, don't have self-esteem about yourself. And you the time you spend together, you don't feel like you enjoy the time. You consider it like a time wasted. Not just a time wasted for something that is not upbuilding. That could be another indication that person is toxic. Watch it. Number 3 feeling you get. Guilty. You are feeling guilty that you've not done enough to solve the person's problem or to meet the person's need. You try your best. You do all you can within your power. But the person, this particular person or relationship, is still making you feel that you've not done enough, that you can do better. But my friend, my guy, that's all you could possibly do. But you are still feeling terrible about not being able to do much more than what you could do. That could be a toxic relationship. 4th one, number 4, is after you have dealing with the person, you are confused about your boundaries, about your belief. You don't even know where you are. You don't know where you belong. You get shattered. After doubting yourself, you are now starting doubting your belief, doubting your being, your existence, your value. My guy, that could be a toxic relationship that could be emotionally draining, make you to be doubting yourself. And the last but not the least of the feeling you get when you are in a toxic relationship, you feel frustrated that your need, your desire, your want, your concern are not being taken into consideration. The other person doesn't even care about your feeling. It doesn't care about your complaint. It doesn't care about your want. But what the person only wants is his or her own need to be met. It's for his or her own need to be satisfied. Watch it. That may be a very strong indication that you're in a toxic relationship. We said earlier that toxic on its own is not a psychological term that is well defined, but it's how you feel when you have a dealing with somebody, when somebody has been difficult, right? Hey guys and friends, stay tuned on this channel. This is Dr. Martin's Daily. This is Dr. Martin's Weekly. Our podcast is on and will be on for the past few years, will continue to be on, where we empower people to take action, where we empower people to be self-aware of what they need to be aware of, where we educate people, where people come to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Today, we are talking about toxic people, toxic relationship, which has been defined as how you feel, negative feeling, bad emotional feeling, drain psychologically, emotionally. We have a relationship with people when the other person is taking your need into consideration, and you're always being blamed for not doing enough to meet the need of this person in this relationship. We said it could be your parents. That is the worst case scenario. Of course, if your boss at work, you don't have options, you have to look for how to fix it, how to manage the boss. If it's a relationship, your spouse, and you don't want to go in divorce or separation, you have to manage that. It could be your children, it could be your cousin, your uncle. The relationship defines how you will cope, which we're going to discuss later. We mentioned next episode, we're going to look at the type of toxic people out there. Have a wonderful day. I hope you gain something, at least something out of this discussion this hour.